I've been thinking for the last few months about what video I should be making next after the E3. They should show us something, which sadly they didn't. During the Bethesda E3's conference, they didn't even make a speck of mention of Quake Champions, which is really disappointing for me and most people who are waiting for something to keep us interested. And it's sad that we don't know what's going to happen. And QuakeCon happened literally a couple of weeks ago, and because of that, there was nothing out of there. It being DoomCon and on, I figured that there was not even going to be a mention. Which is strange, being that they showed off, the Quake Champions tournament and had the winner take the prize. So why even have a tournament for it if you're not going to announce anything for it? Now, we still have a couple of days, maybe about 5 weeks before the current season Battle Pass ends, before the next update drops. And hopefully, maybe they have something under their sleeves that will get us going, get us excited, get us ready for the next year. And hopefully, we'll get to that. But we don't know. Id Software is not really taking up the mantle at the moment, being that they're working on Doom Eternal. And last time I heard, Saber is not really touching the game or something of the sort. I am not sure anymore. But we'll have to wait and see what it's going to be, and I hope it's for the good, because I'm terrified, which I know is the third sort of video I've mentioned about that. But what I do want to talk about for this video is majority of the things that I feel like they should at least do to fix the game, do to make the game more enjoyable or more user accessible for a lot of the new players, because that's one of the biggest problems with this game. The first initial jump was obviously the vast majority of the people who weren't interested in Quake Champions because of the first problem, which was the loot boxes and the terrible aspect of, well, you need to spend money to earn champions kind of deal. And thankfully, since December of last year, it's been pretty much a good fix-around, thank goodness. And with the Season 2 Battle Pass kicking around, they made it even better with the daily logins to getting shards, to more challenges to getting shards as well. And I like that. It's a good step in the right direction. I also heard from some people that you have a chance of being able to play certain characters for a limited time for a day or a week or so. I wouldn't know because I bought the Champions Pack, so I only know what I can be told by other people. I don't see the rentals, and I don't have many people who don't have the Champions Pack who can tell me such research. So I'm going by the fact there are times where you can play certain people for a day or a week or so, which is similar to what League of Legends and some other games do, where they allow you to play certain characters for the week rotations. And if that is the case for Quake Champions, that is pretty good. But the fact that you can log in for a week, get 5 shards, do that for 2 weeks, got 10 shards, that's enough for a champion, and on top of being able to have easy extra shards through the Battle Pass and the challenges this time around, I feel it gives more new players an easier way without feeling like they have to spend money just to get anywhere, which is always a good effort. And now I understand it being a free-to-play game, they need to do something to get money out of it, and it's always hard to figure out what is the right balance that is not insulting to the community, but also being able to be fair and making money for the product itself. And I think right now, I think it works pretty well. They have it to where certain skins are on sale during certain days and weeks, which is very useful for certain people who want certain skins. I kind of wish that they would allow you to buy those said skins with shards. They do have a couple skins that are only exclusives to shards, like the 2 shotguns from the ebony shotguns, for the double barrel or the super shotgun, whatever you want to call it. And I think there's one for the railgun that uses the shard system that's like worth 500 shards or something of the sort. All I know is that there's a couple skins that are shards only but are 500 shards. I kind of wish they would allow all of the skins to be accessible using shards, as well as I wish they would do with shaders. They should have it to where I could buy a shader for a weapon or a skin for a weapon using shards. It gives people more of a choice. I think that's one thing that they should do. Do they want to use real money or the 100 plat that they get every week to buy one of those skins that they want for their weapons they enjoy or a shader that they want? Or do they want to save it for later uses? The fact is that shards only used is really the progression system and unlocking champions. I kind of wish there was more for it, because for me, I'm someone who already has unlocked every single character because I bought the Champions Pack, and I unlocked every single cosmetical item I can using the shards. So now I'm just gathering shards for no other reason but to wait until it's useful again. And I kind of wish they would do more with that, at least for me and for other people in the community, in my personal opinion. That's one thing that I personally think that they should at least add or change in some way. The other thing that I think they should change is the progression system for the cosmetics for champions. It's great that they had it to where you use just one shard to unlock a person, but I also wish they had it to where you could unlock that by just playing the character. You know, like saying, oh, if you want to unlock this blue shader, earn 1,000 experience playing as this character, and then over time it's more and more experience to unlock each one. And so give a player a choice. Do you want to use this shard to unlock the progress instantly, or do you want to actually work for it and earn it? Which I think would be much better for certain players who want to actually enjoy their time unlocking stuff. I think it's great. Now, I know the argument for most people is, you know, you don't need an experience system for a Quake game to be good. I mean, obviously, Quake 3 Arena / Quake Live doesn't even have a system like that, and it's still enjoyable to this day. But the problem is that there are some people who do enjoy it in some cases, and we might as well at least incentivize it without destroying the core game, which it hasn't. The core game of Quake Champions is still very much what it feels like of a Quake game. It's a little different, but that's how it is with all games. I remember a time when Quake 2 came out, a lot of people didn't like it because it wasn't what Quake 1 was like, but then people were okay with it. And I also remember when Quake 3 came out, it was universally hated at the time from what I've talked to from certain veterans, because I didn't play it when it first came out, I played it years later, but that's how it goes with my age. And with Quake Champions, it's obviously slightly different mechanically than what Quake Live is, but I still think at the core it still functions and plays very well. But they need to fix the netcode, which I'll get into more detail on that a little bit later. But I feel like that they should allow a system to where you earn experience with a character to unlock the cosmetical items, or you can use a shard or a couple of shards, depending on how the progression works, to unlock it instantly. At least gives player a choice if they want to work for it or go it out, and since it's not using real money and shards are earned through the battle pass or through the challenges or the daily logins, at least gives the player a choice of how they want to spend those shards overall. That's just my opinion, but I'm not sure how everyone else will agree. And if you do, please let me know in the comments down below if you play Quake Champions. Now, the netcode is something that they really need to fix most of all. Almost anyone that I've ever talked to in the small community that I've been a part of in some Discords, the netcode is pretty problematic. And the start of this update has been really bad, especially for the rocket launchers. And I don't know what they can do. I've heard some conversations from people that the reason why the netcode can be really bad is because of the engine they're currently using. Since they decided to not use the engine that Doom 2016 was using, because that had merits of problem. Now the question is can they fix the netcode? I sadly do not know how to answer that because I don't know the technology enough to really do so, but I feel like they should at least try to make it a little bit better and smoother. The netcode in Quake Live at least functions a little bit better than I expected it to, especially after I played a match with a 200 ping with someone, which was a lot of fun. So from here, it's hard to say what they can do, but they should keep trying to fix that. But the problem is the graphical engine itself. There's always myriads of reports, and almost every single time that there's an update, there's always a massive problem with the graphical engine overall. I've run into issues myself, but granted, my computer is a little bit old, I will admit that. So it's hard to tell exactly what they can do. Part of me wonders, could they take this entire game and port it over into the ID Tech engine and rework it to be better? I don't know. And I don't know game development enough to know if that is easy or good, or if that would just make everything worse. But from the reports, it seems like the engine is the hampering problem for a lot of the netcode problems that they probably should try to look into. The next one that I want to discuss, and this is something that is very, very personal for me and most people who care about it growing of a community. Because of the fact that Quake Champions is an arena shooter specific kind of game, and we haven't had an arena shooter exist in years, the problem is for the new player experience. There hasn't been a good one for this. There is not much of anything to help new players understand how the game functions or plays, or even teach the player how this game works. Now, I'm not saying this as an insult, but most of the players that probably are going to jump into this are probably players that only have played games like Battlefield and Halo, Call of Duty, probably Gears of War, maybe even Fortnite and other battle royales. And so they may not understand the functioning of how this game works, which is you start with a low damaging weapon and you find weapons over the map. There's no real regenerated health besides BJ Blazkowicz's passive, and it doesn't really explain much to the player. Now, yes, the bot matches is a good start and is a good idea, but you need to do more for the player. You need to do more to help them understand how this game works. You need to teach them how strafe jumping works, as well as rocket jumping. Why not import or recreate the maps that you did in Quake Live with those tutorial maps with the 3 stages of difficulty to help the player in an isolated room be able to practice and understand how this is supposed to work? On top of that, help them understand how each of the items work, the damage, the distance, and so on and so forth, because not having the good environment to train them means they're not able to learn better. And I've seen many players in the past, over the 2 years of playing this game, of new players jumping in, getting their ass kicked, barely getting even 1 kill, and just quitting. I've seen it. And so they really need to add a better new user experience to help them teach the game a little bit more. Maybe add a sort of pseudo Quake 3 Arena single player thing where you fight against bots over time, where you fight against, oh, this is you versus Anarchy on this map or something. Help them learn the map, learn the environment, help them understand things, slowly ease them into these things. Because the bot matches you have right now are just not good enough right now. Because all it does is, yes, they're bots, they're not players, but they just throw you in with no information, no tutorial. At least from the information I've heard from people, it doesn't tell you anything. You just do a bot match and you play. Now, the Learn tab that's at the top is a great addition since the update that they did back in the past, but the problem with this is that it doesn't teach much players. It doesn't inform them to say, hey, don't forget to check the Learn tab if you need to. And if it does, I've not heard any reports about that from any new players' experiences. Because that Learn tab is great, but the question is how many people actually read that information to really understand it. And plus, reading it does not help in context of playing the game. You can read information about any game, but it doesn't teach you anything until you actually experience it yourself. That's how I got better at Counter-Strike, is when I was able to play those isolated maps against other players and the retake maps and stuff. Those are a good way to experience the stuff than just reading on a post. And so they really need to do a better job with that. And then I think the final thing is they need to advertise this better, but obviously they don't want to because of Doom Eternal becoming a thing for this year. And maybe after Doom Eternal, maybe they'll finally do a resurgence and advertise it all over again because there's not much that they have being released. But it's hard to say. But these are the things that they really need to fix, most of all, to be better. Now, obviously, one of the biggest things that I've said before is new champions, new maps, new modes. And that's definitely something they need to do. And granted, I respect and understand one of the developers in the official Quake Discord who said that you don't need a constant content update to make Quake work. And while that is true in most cases, the problem is that that only works when a game had user-generated stuff. That's what Quake 3 Arena Alive, as well as even Quake 2. And Quake Live, regardless of the fact that the numbers are up in the 200, sometimes 500, that at least has dedicated servers and player works through the Steam workshops. So it's alive because you have people who have their own control over stuff. But you don't with Quake Champions. You're restricted to whatever the developers give you. So we can't make our own maps, we can't make our own stuff, we gotta wait for you to give it to us. And sometimes we want to experience and have fun with our own little thing. Plus, in comparison to Quake Live has over 30, 50 maps or so. This game only has 13. And some of them are not even balanced right in my opinion, especially during team games. So yes, content updates are actually really important at this day and age, especially because this game is still considered early access on Steam. If it wasn't considered early access, maybe I wouldn't complain too much about content drops, but you guys still consider this early access on Steam. You still consider this as not fully completed. If it's not fully completed, then what is it? So yes, I would love to see updates. I would love to see more balanced maps. I would love to play more maps of CTF than just Citadel, because Citadel is the only map that feels balanced and feels correct. I can't stand playing a Bureau Chamber if there's too many Sorlags on the enemy team because they zip in and zip out with no remorse, because there's no speed cap when you have the flag. And it sucks. But that's just my opinion. So, this is the video that I wanted to put out, just kind of talk out and hopefully that they listen, because they need to. These are the things that I feel that they need to do to make this game a little bit better. It may not fix the game. It may not make the game suddenly have a resurgence of players and now we have a good, healthy player base. But at least it's things that they should be listened to and should be understanding from the community overall. Because you have people who want to play this game forever. They want to play this game longer than ever. And granted, it's lasted 2 years, which is a great thing than most. But I want it to last more than that. And so please, Bethesda, id, Saber, if you're still working on the game, or any other company that is doing so, please listen to your fan base. Please listen and understand. I want this game to thrive a little bit more. I want this game to be more enjoyable by players. I want this to survive the next couple of years. I don't want this to die a silent death because you decide to do nothing because it's not making you money. And I don't know what to tell you past that. These are just my opinions, my thoughts, my discussions. And everything you want to say, if you agree or disagree, or maybe you have your own take of what they could do to fix the game, you can leave a comment down below, and I thank you so much for all the feedback from past other videos. With that, I'm done. You guys have a wonderful day and take care, and maybe I'll see you guys in the servers of Quake Champions over time. Take care, everyone.